Okay, I can't stop thinking about what I used to eat as a kid. So I just wanted to talk about it. I used to be a fat kid, okay? And I can say that because it's me. I'm allowed to say that. With all love and due respect to my younger self. She was a little pudgy, and you're about to find out why. When I was a kid, everything that I ate pretty much came out of a packet, okay? Okay, and with all due respect to my father, who was just trying his best. He's an amazing father. Everything came out of a packet because it was just easier. He had to work full time, so and we were picky kids. I had a brother as well. We were both picky, so we would just eat pretty much junk food, right? Everything we would eat. I remember as a kid in my lunchbox, I would only be satisfied if I had 6 things in my lunchbox at all time. So I'd have a sandwich, an apple, I would have then tiny teddies, shapes, like a muffin bar thing, and then like a fruit roll up or something, like some sort of like gummy kind of lolly. And that's what was in my lunchbox every single day. And I remember looking at my friends' lunches and they'd be like a grainy bread. Like I would always have white bread too, like grainy bread with like salad or like green stuff, and I'd be like, oh god, what is that? But I would always have a sandwich with either a cheese sandwich, so white bread. We always had just white bread and some butter and some cheese. Bang it together, you got yourself a sandwich. Or I would have a honey sandwich, which was just white bread, butter, and honey butter bread. But the butter, my dad would put, or a Vegemite sandwich. My dad would put so much butter on this bread that I remember it would make it so soggy, and I just have to like wipe, I couldn't eat it. Like I just have to wipe off like all the butter on like the cling film that it was wrapped in every single lunchtime. And I would like never eat the apple. Let's be real, I rarely eat that fucking apple. Or another sandwich I would have would be a fairy bread sandwich. It was just like hundreds and thousands butter and bread. It started because Dad hadn't been shopping one day, so we only had, he was like, you want a fairy bread sandwich? I was like, fuck yeah, Dad, that sounds amazing, thanks Dad, I love you. And then that caught on because my best friend was like, whoa, you're having a fairy bread sandwich? And I'm like, yeah, fairy bread. Dad started fairy bread Fridays. It's Friday, you have fairy bread. And then it started to catch on around the whole class, but everyone thought it was my best friend's idea to have fairy bread Friday. Some people were against it. Some people's parents were like, I'm not sending them to school with a fairy bread sandwich with sprinkles. But a lot of people did. It really did catch on. So I would have that. And then when I got into like high school, I started to really get into baking. So I would come home from school after eating my 6 things, and then I would make myself cupcakes, a whole batch of cupcakes, and then I would sit there in front of the TV and I would eat the cupcakes. And I would just start with like 1, and then I'll have another 2, and then I'll have another 1, and then I have another 1, and then I'm like, fuck, there's only 2 left, like, what's another 2? I'll eat them. And then I'll just eat the whole batch of cupcakes, and then I'd have to eat dinner too. Dad was kind of against it, and I kind of knew it was like, you probably shouldn't eat a whole batch of cupcakes. So I would do it in like secrecy, because Dad would be at work. I would walk home from school, and then we'd be like unsupervised at home, and we were like old enough to be unsupervised, like it was totally fine. But I would make these cupcakes, and then I would just I'd eat the whole thing, and then I'd just like wash everything up, dry it all up, like all the dishes, put them away, and I'd be like, what cupcakes? And they never existed. They never fucking existed. And then Dad would walk in home, and I'd be like, what cupcakes? I mean, how's your day? How's your day, Dad? how's it going? Why does it smell like freshly baked cupcakes? I don't know. That's weird. That's weird. I would lit a candle. I don't know. And then I would have to eat dinner because I was covering up for the fact that I ate 12 cupcakes and I was not hungry for dinner. So I just have to like fucking force it down and I'd feel so sick. And I remember this one school holidays that your dad had to go to work for like some project. For the most part, he would work from home, but this time he had to go into the office. And then I started making brownies for lunch. I would make a batch of brownies. It's a bloody good recipe too. It was this school holidays, it was like pissing down rain. And I would make this batch of brownies and then I wouldn't even like cut up the brownies or nothing. I think maybe I didn't the first time I did it, but I would take the whole just take the tray up into my bed and just continue watching Gossip Girl and just with a fork just eat the whole fucking tray of brownies. And then afterwards I'd be like, well, if that's lunch, hey, I've had it. That was fucking awesome. And I remember the first time I did it, Dad came home and he was like, how's your day? How's your day? I was like, fucking awesome, Dad. It was so good, Dad. Guess what I had for lunch? What did you have for lunch? I made a whole batch of brownies and I ate them. The whole batch? Yeah. And he's like, you can't do that. You can't do that. I'm like, guess what, Dad? You totally can. You totally can. It's quite easy. You just make the brownies and you just eat them. It's really, you can. He's like, no, like, you know, you're gonna get sick. You're gonna get sick if you do that. Like, you can't, you gotta make like a healthy lunch. I'm like, oh, okay, got it. And then like he'd be leaving the next day and be like, hey, have a good day. I love you so much. Be good. No more brownies? No more brownies. We're good with the brownies? Let's not do that again. You got it, Dad? No problem. No more brownies. Got it. And he'd come home and he'd be like, how's your day? What'd you make for lunch? I made cinnamon scrolls. Cinnamon scrolls, yeah. Cinnamon's healthy. Yeah, sweetie. In a smoothie, it's good for you, yeah? No scrolls. Okay, sorry, Dad. That's confusing, my guy. That's confusing. How can it be healthy in one thing and not in the other? That makes no fucking sense to me. But then I'll just keep doing it. Like, I'll just keep making brownies because, like, who's going to tell me not to? And I was obsessed with Nutella. Nutella was a big problem for me. Like, I was addicted to that shit. Like, oh, we would get, like, the big kilo jars of Nutella. And I would just eat it by the spoonful. I would eat Nutella sandwiches. Every morning I would have Nutella toast or a Nutella sandwich. And the Nutella would be, like, about as thick as the bread. Like, fucking love that shit. And on the weekends, pancakes, fuck ton of Nutella, like heaps of Nutella on that thing. And it would like melt into it. It was fucking divine. I was obsessed with Nutella and I would remember eating it like in the bath. Awesome. Just sitting in the bath eating Nutella by the spoonful. Hello. Best time of my life. And Dad would be like, no more Nutella. That's enough Nutella, Tara. Hey, that's enough Nutella. I'm telling ya, that's enough. And just one more spoonful, please. I just need it so bad. Like, just one more, and then I'll stop. Like, just give me like 1 teaspoon, I promise. And he'd be like, no. And I'm like, fine, I'll have some honey. 1 teaspoon. Compromise. And I remember going over to people's houses for sleepovers. And they'd like cook dinner and I'd be like, okay. Oh, well, for dinner, Dad would make us, because we were picky, it's not Dad's fault, we would make us like some like frozen chips, you know, hot chips. And that would be like counted as like a vegetable, it's a potato. Dad would be like, eat your veggies, kids. And it's referring to a bowl of chips, smothered in chicken salt. Once again, fucking awesome. And I remember going over to people's houses for sleepovers, and then like mum would cook like this beautiful home cooked nutritious meal, and I'd just look at it and go, what the fuck is that? What is this slop, man? This is disgusting. And I'd be sitting there like, are the chips still in the oven? Do you want me to get the chips? They'd be like, there's no chips, sweetie. What chips? No, okay, no chips, no worries. And I'd have to like get it down. I'd either hate it and just like have to deal with it, or I would love it and be like, this is crazy. Had no idea. Dad would get pissed off when I told him I tried this and I loved it. He'd be like, you'd hate that if I made it. Yeah, Dad, because I love and trust you. I'm gonna throw a fit. This random lady, I'm not gonna throw a fit. Anyway, and then dinner would be finished and I'd be like, all right, well, after that pathetic excuse for a dinner, Susan, where's dessert? What's for dessert? Let's see if you can redeem yourself. And they'd be like, oh, like, we just have dessert on special occasions. Yeah, you don't have it every day. If you're still hungry, you can have an apple. An apple. Oh, sorry. That's not dessert, sweetie. That ain't dessert. That ain't dessert. I'll be like, what kind of hell hole have I walked into? This is ridiculous. Where's my cookies and cream ice cream? What the fuck? And then I'd be going to sleep with my friend and I'd be like, hey, I hate to be the one to tell you this, but I think your parents are abusing you. I don't think they really love you. I'm sorry, like, I just don't, sorry. Oh my god. And I remember in high school, we had to do, in PE, we had to do like a food journal, like log, like write down all the things that we'd eaten. And I got my feedback back and it was like, Dara, you really need to consider changing your diet or you're gonna die young of health diseases. Oh shit, that's not good. Oh, that's not good. Oh my god, and a little harsh. That's a little harsh. What are you, a fortune teller? How do you know I'm gonna die young of health diseases? The fuck? And then my friends would be like, well, what's yours say, Tara? I'll be like, oh, it says, just keep on keeping on. You're doing a good job. Well done. All looks good. What does yours say? And I was lying on that thing too. I remember like trying to think of like the healthiest things that I could think of. I'm pretty sure I put like zucchini pasta, like instead of pasta, zucchini spirals, you know? And they're probably looking at like, you ain't eating that, sweetie. You ain't eating that. We know you ain't eating that. Good thing I put 2 cupcakes and not 12. I was a fucking gun at food tech though. I was a gun at food tech. I came first every single year, except one year, this one boy beat me by half a point and I still have a grudge about it. And you know what else? I was a gun at fucking baking. I got real good at baking. Real good at baking. You know why? Because I was making those cupcakes, like, I'm not saying I did that once or twice. Make the 12 cupcakes and eat them to myself. Or the whole batch of brownies and eat them to myself. Or the cinnamon scrolls, scones. I'd make so much stuff. I did that like every day, like every afternoon. So I got really good at baking. Fucking A1 at fucking baking. Like my intuition, like I could crack an egg with one hand. Mate, my intuition was so good. I would have like the scales out. I'd always measure it. But I would be able to like chop off the butter and like put it on and it would be exactly 180 grams. Exactly. And if it wasn't, I'd be able to cut off a little bit more. Just throw it on. Perfect. Yeah. Yeah. I just pour in the fucking flour bag. Guess what? Perfect. Yeah. Yep. Now I wouldn't even need a timer in the oven. I'll just get this little tingle in my gut. It's ready. was. Never burned anything. Be watching I put it in the oven, we'll go watch TV, and then I'll just get this feeling, like my brain would just be like, oh, it's ready. And it'd be ready. Fucking good. Hey, that's fucking good. But I learned a lot of problem solving skills from all this baking and stuff. I actually think it's really helped me in life, but yeah. And I was size 12 when I was 12 years old. And then when I was 14, I was size 14. And I was like to my dad, hey, isn't that so cool that when I was 12, I was a size 12 and now I'm 14 and I'm a size 14? I wonder if when I'm 16, I'll be a size 16. That's fucking sick. Dad's like, I don't know if cool's the word I'd use. Maybe concerning? That's a little bit concerning. Oh, what the hell? I thought you were cool. I thought you were a cool dad. What's with all this concerning talk? What the heck? You calling me fat? I remember coming home from sleepovers and Dad would pick me up and I'd be like, you never gonna believe it. They only have dessert on special occasions. And Dad would be like, oh yeah, we should probably stop having dessert every night. No, Dad, that is not what I was saying. That is not where I was going with that. Oh my god. No, we had dessert. We totally had dessert. Everyone does. But it was awesome because I lived in like this gated community, like complex, so there was other kids that lived there too, and we all basically shared a backyard. So we'd all just like run around all day and like go to each other's houses and stuff. And everyone always wanted to hang out at my house because I had foxtail and I had the best snacks. When there was like a new kid on the block, everyone would be like, Tara's got the best snacks. Like we go to Tara's house for afternoon tea. She's got tiny teddies, shapes, 2-minute noodles, easy mac, cordial. You know what I mean? So that was awesome. And sometimes I laugh about it with Dad and he's like, but were you happy? Yeah. Yeah, it was probably the happiest I was at that age. And I have proof. Here's a really sad video of my first day of high school.
First day of high school, and it sucked. I have no friends. All my friends have gone to different high schools. Some there's many new friends, but everybody has friends, and I can't. I'm not as good at making friends as I thought I was, so that sucks. So I'm hanging out with the popular group who obviously don't like me, and they're just ignoring me and stuff.